Jrue, what have these past few months been like for you?
I wouldn't say relaxing. There's been a lot of things that you got to stay on your toes about. At first, it was just whether the season was coming back, and then it was so you couldn't really take a break from that. And then once the season was coming back, when it was actually coming back, and then just ramping up when you had to be back and market. So it's been fun. It's been somewhat relaxing, but at the same time, you still had to stay on mentally.
Jrue, have you made any decisions? Are you officially going to go? Are you still deciding? I know Griff said yesterday the roster could be in flux, just kind of where you are from a standpoint of the season and the bubble with your wife being pregnant and everything else that's going on.
Right. Now I'm here and I'm going. Kind of feel like if I wasn't going, I probably wouldn't be here. But making that decision with my wife, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows the medical history with our first child. So this one is great so far. My wife is healthy and the baby's healthy. So, man, I'm here to support my teammates. I'm here to support this culture that we want to build and put together. And at the same time, here to go down to Orlando and try to win.
Hey, Jrue, how tough of a what was that process like, just kind of talking to your wife about it, though? I mean, was it a difficult decision for you all, or it was pretty much a no-brainer?
No, it was difficult. One, just during this pandemic, you kind of got to a point where you got used to quote unquote regular life. Having a consistent routine every single day, especially when you have kids, taking care of your kids, putting them down to sleep. I think the biggest part of coming back was, for one, obviously her. I'll be back by the time, hopefully, she has our next child. But I think just being able to have her find help, and being in California, my family's out there, her family probably come out. But a challenge, yes, but I think it's worth it, and that's why I'm here.
What's been the focus for you during the past few months as far as, staying physically ready, staying, right basketball-wise?
That was exactly it, really. Just staying physically ready, being able to kind of take a step back, not do too much basketball stuff, but still be able to get in good work in the weight room and on the field, doing things fun to kind of clear your mind of basketball per se, just to kind of get a release from that. And then once it's time to get back into the gym, once it was time for me, I felt better and I felt relaxed. Toward that end of the season, guys, it kind of gets to a point where it's like, all right, this is the last push. And sometimes it gets kind of tough mentally. I think having this break from that and not touching the basketball and doing all that was pretty good for a while until it was time to come back.
One of the things that Griff said yesterday was, he expected this to be, almost as tough mentally as it is physically on players going into this campus for 5 weeks. Do you kind of feel a similar way about this?
For sure. For one, we're going into a bubble. We're doing something that we've never done before, and that's already a mental challenge. Being able to adapt. Another thing is not being with your families for a month and a half on. So I think from that standpoint, especially during the season, the course of the season, you probably go, on a road trip, if it's 10 days, you probably go 10 days without seeing them. But to go 30 plus can be difficult. So again, another thing that you have to adapt to. But I think coming together with your teammates and locking in, this will definitely give us a time to really see what we're made of and kind of build our chemistry. I do also think it's cool that my brothers are going to be there. Usually during the season, I don't get a chance to do that just because we're really opponents and they're in Indiana. But to be able to do that and then see guys around the league, I think be able to get together and talk about things socially is probably going to be pretty big for us.
Speaking of talking about things socially, your wife obviously penned a really powerful op-ed the other day. How proud are you of what she wrote and what she said, the discussions you all have had, in the positive change it can potentially bring when people of her stature tell stories like that?
Yeah, extremely proud to be able to put herself out there and express how she feels firsthand. I think when I first read it, I thought she was going to try to tell it through my eyes, per se, like kind of what I saw or what she saw through my eyes. But I think how she described it and how she saw it through her eyes and how it made her feel was, man, it really hit my heart. It really made me feel like, which I already did before, but my wife is a beast. I have the best wife in the world to be able to go through these social things together, and for her to understand my side and even the culture that I come from. So again, extremely proud and happy, and glad the article turned out really, really well.
I know a big topic of discussion among the players coming back is how you guys are going to use the platform in Orlando to help, shed light on some of the issues going on around the country. What are you really hoping the players can do as far as, spreading the message and kind of continuing some of the stuff you talked about on your social media?
Really is just unite and show people that when we go back to play basketball, it is about basketball and entertaining and winning, but we also do this for the culture. Our league is 90+% Black. So to be able to still be able to further this movement through basketball, I feel like is a key for us. So for us to unite as an NBA, as a collective, which is not just the black guys. I mean, the foreigners, the white people from all different cultures to come together and progress this. I feel like for me is the goal. So,
do you plan on keeping your name on your jersey, or like some of the players, the soccer players have Black Lives Matter? Do you plan on having a slogan or something different, or just keeping your uniform as normal?
No, it's in there. You know what I mean? It's thinking. I've been thinking about it, what to put back there. I don't want it to be my name. I'd like to share somebody that needs to just be on a national scale, which a lot of them have. But I think the name or whatever I choose, it'll be for a reason and a good reason, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I've been thinking of names, or slogans.
There is an incredible amount of awareness, about police brutality and police injustice. What are you just hoping as far as tangible steps to change some of the way things are in America right now? Right.
Again, I think a lot of it, we kind of talk about defunding the police, and I know that with certain people they can be offended by that, but sometimes I just want people to put themselves in my shoes and kind of experience what I've experienced. I mean, most of the time with cops, more than not, I've had not too good experiences. And is that a coincidence? Whatever it may be, I'm a pretty chill guy. I don't really do anything out of pocket. So just from that, I feel like this is really big. And I know I'm not the only one. I have 3 brothers. I have a dad. I have uncles. I have a sister. So, I mean, Black women not excluded. So I think that's one of the things where we just want people to see things through our eyes, see things how we see them, because to us, it's not fair.
Speaking of your brothers, how much is, Justin wrote a nice article for Players Tribune yesterday as well, talking about his decision to go play. How much have him and Aaron really talked about what you guys can do collectively once you get in Orlando?
Yeah, I think just us 3, and again, knowing each other so well and being able to obviously have that that history with each other has been huge. We've been talking about a lot of stuff and a lot of ideas that haven't come to fruition yet, but we first had to, because Justin didn't tell anybody that he was going to go to Orlando first. So because he told me last week or whatever, I think things can kind of start to pick up with us and be able to make things happen. But we don't want it to be just us, like just us 3 Holidays. We want it to be JJ Redick and Andre Iguodala and so many other guys that we can do. Because again, we're 3 people. We have probably great ideas, in my opinion, but I feel like we need to hear out everybody's ideas of how we can further this progression.
When it comes to the downtime in Orlando, what are your expectations? What are your expectations of what's going to happen? And for the routine-oriented guys, how much of a challenge is that going to be?
Right. Honestly, I don't know. I think this is one of the mental parts about it that guys have to adjust to. Where, again, somebody like me, when I go home, it's where I kind of relax, and I try my best not to bring my work home with me. So I get to hang out with my wife, my daughter. I get to do things like that. It's just going to be a challenge. It's going to be something different that I know guys are going to love to go golfing. They're talking about bowling alleys and going fishing. I commend the NBA for trying to do so much to make us as comfortable as possible in this kind of weird situation. So, I don't know, man. I think that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, especially after like 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days, I feel like you're going to feel cooped and want to get out and do stuff. So.
I know that Alvin yesterday said that he's planning on going, but that nothing is definitive yet. Have you maybe thought about what the team would function like and maybe a more leadership role for you than you already have if potentially he is not on the sideline, either with you in Orlando or even on the bench during game?
Yeah. I think I think it could be difficult, especially for Gentry. How much he loves the game, how much he loves his teammates. I can see the stressor and the struggle in that, not being able to tangibly be there and be able to kind of put your hands in things. For us, another mental challenge. If Gentry doesn't come, it's something that we're going to have to, all of us, not just me, but be able to step up, and everybody's going to have to take on a little bit more responsibility, him as well as Jeff. So I think when it comes down to that, it's just another mental thing that Griff has been talking about and even talked to me about, where you have to lock in. And it seems like it's not for that long of a period. So I think to be able to really lock in like that is, again, another testament to how strong a team can be.
Alvin said yesterday he hasn't done as much team coordinated stuff. It's been more the players kind of staying in contact as a group. So what have y'all been doing to kind of talk to each other on a regular basis, and how important has that been, especially with so many young?
Sorry, you're breaking up. You said it again.
I said, how much have you guys been in contact during the time off, and how important has that been with so many young guys on the roster?
Right. We've been in contact a lot. Obviously, just the crazy stuff that's been going on in this country. We've been in contact a lot. A lot of it probably hasn't been about basketball, but I think once we all knew that we were coming back, that was a decision that we made as a team. And then just to be able to kind of get here and, you quarantine and do all that, but see each other and pass each other in the gym. It's kind of like first day of school again, like when you see your homies and you're excited to see them. So it's been great. You know what I mean? I think this first day, so many people were excited to get back into the gym and kind of get this thing started.
Going back to –
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Jrue, going back to all the way back to training camp, you guys talked about how making the playoffs was one of the goals that you guys had. Obviously, going into this, I think that's going to be near the top of the list. How meaningful do you think it would be for you guys as a team to make the playoffs after you had, the 13-game losing streak and the 7-23 start to the season to be able to accomplish that?
Yeah, just talk about an obstacle that you had to get over. We had a couple of them this season. I mean, Zion out half the season, me being hurt, having that 13-game losing streak, bouncing back and on a groove, right? I mean, right when the pandemic hit, it was like the perfect groove for us, and we felt like we kind of had that spot for sure in lockdown. But I think coming back now, just having that excitement of going back is something that's really big for us and a momentum that we can use. It is still ultimately the goal to make the playoffs. We know that it's going to be tough because you got Portland, you got Sac, the Suns are kind of back there, but you got teams that are right neck and neck with us. And Memphis, who still doesn't want to let that go, they've had time to rest and they've had time to prepare. So mentally, I think it's going to be one of the biggest challenges that we've kind of faced as a team.
Just
Griff has talked a bunch about the value of playing meaningful games for a young team. As a guy who's been through sort of playoff wars, what do you learn in that? And I know this is goofy, but how different is an NBA game in the middle of December than one in the playoffs? How is the play different, and what do you get out of that?
Playoffs is like another season, to be completely honest. I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of like a different wave of energy. I mean, by the end of the season, you're tired. You are all the nicks and hurts that you have are like maximized after 82 games. But it's just something about the playoffs and the atmosphere and feeling like it's you against the world that gets you going. And meaningful games, I feel like, are huge because it prepares us for that. Games that we need to win, games that we should win, especially against teams that you should beat. Mentally, I feel like that's how you grow. So to be able to, I feel like, put games like that together to get to the playoffs will make it even more fulfilling once we get there. But if we get there, man, I'm telling you, the playoffs are a completely different atmosphere. Now, the playoffs in a bubble is going to be something that we're all gonna, I guess, have to get used to. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to progress from after this season, but I don't know. That's a whole different story with no fans and trying to. Where does the energy come from some nights? Which, I mean, again, you bring your own energy, but yeah, this is going to be different.
Jrue, along the same lines, how important or meaningful do you think it is for you guys have so many players that have never been in the playoffs? I realize that these 8 seeding games aren't playoff games, but the significance of them is at such a high level because there's not a lot of margin for error. But so, I mean, how much do you look forward to just having some of the guys that haven't been in the playoffs before have this experience?
I think for them, so for me, my motivation is to get back because I know what it's like. I know the feeling. It's kind of like a drug, if you will. For other guys, I feel like the guys who haven't made it, just from the people who've made it and talking about it, you get that excitement of like, I want to taste that. I want a piece of that. So I feel like us going through this season and then playing teams who, I mean, we're pretty much playing like San Antonio. We're playing Memphis again. Like, we're playing teams that are fighting for that 8th spot, which is going to be a playoff mentality. And then once we get into the bubble, it's the same thing. We might just, I guess from here on, might just be playoff mentality for us just because we have to if we want to get to where we want to go.
Hey, Jrue, how scary is it knowing that 3 of your teammates tested positive for COVID and that it could pop up on anybody at any time? Is it just something kind of that's the new normal that you're going to kind of have to deal with and realize that even in the bubble, there may be guys that test positive and have to quarantine for 10 or 14 days or whatever the policies call for?
Yeah, I'm not there yet with the normalizing it. It's still pretty scary just seeing like family members or friends get it, different ages, just what it does to you, and even just seeing how what it's done to other people that I don't know. So I'm not really there with normalizing it, but I feel like it's also a risk that we're taking, knowing that we're healthy, knowing that the NBA is doing the best that they can to be able to further this season for many reasons. But I don't know. There are a lot of questions. And again, this is a whole different conversation of, I mean, what if you get it second round of the playoffs? Like what happens then? But I also know that this is kind of like a trial and error thing. So for us to come back and enjoy the game that we love, so you have to make some sacrifices.
You kind of touched on this already, but how weird do you think it's going to be playing with no fans?
Super weird. Very weird. Extremely weird.
Yeah, Alvin was mentioning that it might be incumbent upon the guys on the bench to provide the energy, and maybe you'll have to actually become fans during the minutes that you're not playing.
I mean, we are fans, though. That's the thing. Like, you see our bench screaming, jumping, and I mean, doing all that, but we also feed off the fans behind us. If it's a away game and we're in OKC and it's loud as hell, Like, we feed off that. Like, we want to shut them up. And then if we're at home, I mean, our home fans are great, so they kind of lift us up even on the bench. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be weird.
Yesterday, Griff mentioned Jenna Rosen. I was wondering, from a player's perspective, what are the particular benefits, especially during recent times and going forward into the bubble, of having a team psychologist available to talk things over with?
Yeah, I think it can be beneficial. Again, this is a new normal, like you guys said, and people have different ways of handling that. Sometimes you have people to talk to, which it might be over the phone for some people, but sometimes you need to sit down face to face and get things off your chest. And especially during a time like this, it would be huge for not just basketball and going to the bubble. It could be family things, missing your family. It could be social injustice, not feeling like you're doing enough. So many things. So I'm really happy that we're taking mental health very seriously.
Jrue, for a team like the Pelicans, with a lot of young players and a majority of key guys who haven't even been together a full year yet, do you think there could be a positive that comes out of this from a chemistry and a bonding standpoint, where you could take a bigger step forward in that regard than maybe you normally would by all being sequestered together like this?
Yeah, I think this is more of a positive than a negative in that instance. Being able to be with guys every day, and I feel like at this point you're going to see them all the time for the next month and a half. I think building that chemistry, which we do feel like we've done a pretty good job of that, but building that chemistry in a situation, I feel like helps grow your team. So not just on the basketball court, but grows you more personally with other teammates.
All right, great. Thanks so much for your time today, Jrue.
You have a good one.
Appreciate it.